Patreon subscribers, fans, followers, family, and friends from around the world. It's your boy Jeremy Alexander Newsome with the IR4 podcast, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This is our YouTube channel. This is our Patreon, and if you want to keep supporting our podcast, I do appreciate it. We are doing our absolute best to discuss entrepreneurship, advanced artificial and technology, blockchain technology, the Internet of Things, eco-intelligence, nanotech, cryptos, fundraising, wearable tech, quantum computing, 3D printing, and all other things that are bringing us here into the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Tim Jennings, great question. I'll be getting back with you in just a few moments. Let's dive into some cryptos and discuss it. And I'm actually going to answer Tim's Patreon question here about Ethereum and my 3 to 5 year target. So let's kind of come over here to the Ethereum USD on the Coinbase exchange. And what we got right now, this pink trend, is really the trend line that's been holding Ethereum and most cryptos down for a while. Here's the weekly chart and the 100 simple. We have ourselves as going to be a basic, pretty large support around 316.76. So really what we're going to likely do is consolidate in this area for a while. Chop around down here and really hang out for a while. My 3 to 5 year target, that's a phenomenal question, Tim. And I hope that we're able to come back to this 3 to 5 years down the road and figure out if this is correct. But bottom line, my goal for most cryptos with this massive move, nothing moves like this without moving like this. We will consolidate probably the rest of 2018, almost without question, into 2019. And after 2019, mid-2019, we'll start getting some love, kind of popping around here, something like this. We likely will make it back up to the previous high. Honestly, if you look at Ethereum on kind of a fractal basis, taking what it's doing now on a weekly chart and kind of synthesizing what it did back here to the daily. So let's go back to the daily chart of June when it did this, and you will see some similarities. So here's the daily chart. And if we pretend we're looking at Ethereum right now on a weekly, we would be doing kind of this move right here. That's kind of that pink trend line that I just drew. Let me actually just get an actual trend line here. That was looking rough. So something like this is kind of where we would be on a weekly time frame, and we'd likely be somewhere around this functionality price point. Meaning we'll probably break down into the 100, kind of bounce off there for a while. That'll bring us into closer to 2019. Then we do have hopefully a pop where we do trade back up to its previous all-time highs, of which everyone gets out there. A lot of people are like, oh man, what a crazy run up. That was wild. And then they end up exiting the trade, and then we have some big pullbacks, we have some consolidations. So what took days in June 2017 to about really November of 2017 when I called Ethereum, mentioning that buy as much as you can, it was about to surge. That's really probably going to take the better part of 2 years. But from that instance, really my 3 to 5 year perspective of this, I mean, so many cryptocurrency projects and blockchain technology projects are being built on the Ethereum platform. So many ERC20 tokens just everywhere, abundant. It's hard to see a world without Ethereum in this particular space. So bouncing off the 100 on a weekly chart will take a little bit of time as we see some bouncing around and some consolidation. Ultimately, I'd like to see us get back up to 1300. I think that's very doable. But from there, 5 year targets I would say is high 2800s. 3 to 5 year targets I would say is above 2800, below 4000. That would be a monumentally strong move, but it will take a massive amount of time to get there. So here's Bitcoin, BTC USD, and it's down 4% today. If I turn on, that's the Bitfinex exchange. Let's go over here to the Coinbase. And what we're going to look at is the Coinbase exchange. Here's the daily chart, and this is really the drawing that I did back on June the 11th. And kind of so far, we're almost spot on with this wave rotation. We trade higher into some old support, new resistance. We could be forming an inverted head and shoulders, something like this, this, and this. While that's certainly possible, it's most likely that we're going to see some lower moves, again, into that 100 on a weekly, where we very well could bounce and continue higher. It's really kind of my thought that that's going to be the Goliath, if you will, of this battle, of this support. We'll hang out here for a bit. We'll certainly bounce at least to some modicum of size, and from there we'll figure out exactly if we break lower. I mean, if we break lower, we are going back to 3,000 and then 2, and I could see us, I mean, who knows at that point, probably all the way back to 1,000. Anything is possible if it breaks at that 100. I mean, that's just going to be pure chaos in the streets. But long term, based on this hyperbolic extension of price, based on all the volume, how many people know about it, how many people are getting burned, and how much investing money and large sums are coming into the crypto space, I do see it as a matter of time. Being right now 2018, mid-2018 at that, we've never, well, I shouldn't say never. The last time Bitcoin had a really, really big move, we're going to go to a bigger exchange on this one, Bitfinex, and come back all the way over here. And again, look at this on a daily chart. So we're going to go back to 2014 during its first bubble. And this is the daily picture. So the daily picture, I've traded this numerous times, every single candle, every single day. And I would call this as February, right? So this is the February move that we experienced recently. And then this would be kind of like the April bullish move that we got. But right now we're kind of in the momentum of this move. And even though we probably do have one higher pop left, ironically the last pop that we got was in May, and May was a pretty brutal month this year for Bitcoin. It traded right into the 200. We have one big pop left, but this is where we lost. I mean, we went from 1140 down to 175. So that's realistically 80% of a crash. So I mean, 80% is, we're talking massive moves, potential. But even from there, after that happens, when no one is interested in 2014, all of 2015, which is a pure accumulation year, and then obviously we all know kind of what happened from there. The biggest, most important volume spike starts happening right here. That's the one that once it makes that higher high, it's above all those averages. So that took 2 years back in 2014 when no one knew about it. Even now with people knowing about it, it still could take that long, and probably does. But really, if you want to get an idea of where we're going, you got to look at where we've been and kind of get an idea of how far we've already moved, how much has come, and really also analyze it comparatively to some of the other charts out there, the other companies that went through similar things, like TD Ameritrade. I keep bringing this one up, but TD Ameritrade on a weekly chart or even a monthly chart does look very similar to how Bitcoin looks on a daily chart. So this is the weekly time frame for TD Ameritrade, and you'll kind of notice, I mean, again, going from 62 to back to 5. So we're talking massive move, huge run up during the tech bubble, a lot of people buying, but this took the better part of 2 to 3 years for that accumulation to really stave off. And then even from there, we're talking a very slow and arduous move sideways on TD Ameritrade before we eventually got back up to the high, and that's present day. So that's on a daily chart, on a weekly. I mean, that took 2 decades, right at 20 years. That's a massive amount of time. I don't expect it lasting quite that long for Bitcoin and some of the other cryptocurrencies, but regardless, even if it does, we'll have the ability and the know-how and the knowledge to trade them, because here at your IR4 podcast, we'll be interviewing industry leaders, SMEs, subject matter experts, people, CEOs, CFOs, CIOs who are putting in work and doing incredible things and trying to figure out exactly what we do from there. Just asking about business and ventures and what's being created, and posting coin reviews every Tuesday and Saturday. So if you guys have any requests, if there's anything you ever want to look at, feel free to message us either on our IR4 channel or here on our Patreon channel. So Tim, hopefully that answers your question, my good friend. Let's look at 2 more. That's EOS USD. So the EOS USD pairing. I'm going to look at this. Let's go to Binance. And on Binance, if you're looking at a weekly chart, we're talking very, very little bits of data. But you will notice there's a decent little trend line here. So trend line looks something like this, and we are here. Now it does seem that we're breaking down, and today is pretty bearish on most cryptos, today specifically. So if we do get a massive rally or a beautiful hammer or some type of buying candle here very soon, that would be pretty exciting. But on EOS or most other coins, if we start taking out the lows that we were at pretty much today, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to get one of those wild wicks lower, boop, something like that before we go higher, or we're going to break down and go back to where we were. Again, on EOS, I mean, the lowest we went was back here in March, and we still haven't taken out those lows. That's back at 3 and some change. So could we make it back down there? Absolutely. And would I be a buyer down there? Absolutely. Buy low, sell high. It's in a little bit of a channel. It obviously did not bounce off the 200, which is what a lot of people wanted it to do, but that just simply did not occur. And if you're coming and looking at Dash, it looks equally as rough. So here's Dash USD, and if you're zooming into the daily chart, yeah. So she looks like she's ready to potentially roll over some. The weekly chart doesn't look that great. Again, you have all kinds of like head and shoulder patterns and warning signals and things that look a little on the scary side. But with this support right here breaking down, just a matter of time before we start seeing some of these moves come lower. And then we get to figure out how low is low, how long does it take to get there, where do they stop, where do they pause. Big news for Litecoin, you have a new baby 100 SMA on the weekly chart on Litecoin, and that is at 69.67. So, I mean, yeah, some people will be picking up some there. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I'm just looking at all the patterns that I see. Unless we have some amazing news story or something really incredible that just shocks the market, which I don't even know what that would be, we might have some short-term intermediate bounces, but I'm more or less still planning for a little bit more blood in the streets. The April move was fun. That kind of gave us a quick glimpse of hope, and then we just returned back down. So this double bottom that we're trying to form right here, what will determine if we form that double bottom will be very similar to what happened over here. Do we close below the support like we did on Litecoin back on the 10th of June, or do we actually bounce a little bit of a lower shadow? We'll find out in really 2 or 3 days. And your next Patreon exclusive coin market update will be on Saturday, which is just right around the corner. So if you want access to our exclusive network of videos, interviews, and market updates, feel free to click that, become a Patreon page. We do have a bunch of different tiers. You're welcome to support us that way, or just subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the free stuff we post. Either way, folks, you're amazing. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, love, live, learn, you all rock. Bye.